I'd rather trust a professor who's funded in a university by the Rockefellers than some TikTok guy who thinks he knows it all. So I'm actually talking about here mummification from archaeologists. Now, they seem to believe now that they found the oldest known mummification, which is now 8,000 years ago. But the problem is, when you actually read on, they're actually just looking at photographs that were 60 years ago. So they're now ascertaining that the photographs of the images depict a mummification from 8,000 years ago, which is basically just a guess, let's be honest. And the reason why I say about the who do you trust is because if you watch my other videos, you'll see that recently archaeologists in Egypt have now said, oh yeah, mummies are probably 1,000 years before we actually thought they were. So when you keep getting misinformation, who do you trust? Look closely, you'll see there's a cavity inside the Great Pyramid. Now, the researchers, wait for it, this is from the express.co.uk, are talking about experts are proposing a cosmic ray scan of the Great Pyramid to find out what else is going on in there. Now, they keep referring to the experts, but really when you look down it says the scan project. So when you look at the scan projects, that's basically designed by and led by the Cairo Museum or University. And so when you look at the Cairo Museum, you find out that Mr. John D. Rockefeller has already been there and been dealing with them in the past, which means he's probably still dealing with them in the future. So going back to where we was here, are we going to find out the truth about what's with the scan, or are they going to hide it from us? Because if you see who's funding or who's behind all of this, then you'll realise we won't ever know. Pyramids in the Bermuda Triangle. Supposedly in 2012 they found these glass or crystal type pyramids, possibly two of them, in the Bermuda Triangle. Why the hell haven't they gone back? This would be the biggest news story in the whole history of the world, because it means either they were built underwater or they were here so long ago that the land wasn't under ocean at that point. Why don't we find out? There's either two reasons for that. One is they've been warned off and said do not tell anyone, or two, then they're fake. Your thoughts? Well, I hate liars. So this website here, The Spectator, says proof at last that the Great Pyramid wasn't built by aliens. Now, wait for it. Their proof is an old bit of papyrus, which basically says that it was a logbook, really, which I've mentioned in previous videos, that says that the Egyptians used the Nile and they moved blocks backwards and forwards. That's it. They do not talk about the pyramids. There's no mention of it. However, this website here is saying that they're talking about how they lifted the block, raising them up so that they could actually make ramps, etc., etc. The papyrus doesn't say any of that, so they've added all this crap. And then, wait for it, this is, you know, when someone's trying to debunk things, it's when they talk about things like little green men here. The little green men or Atlantean speculations is both a failure and an overuse. So basically they're trying to knock people, even though technically they... The Anunnaki built pretty much most of the pyramids. Now here we have Teotihuacan on the left, and that's two larger pyramids with one off-centre, a smaller one. We have Orion's belt there with two stars and a smaller one off-centre, and then we have over here the Giza pyramids, two and then one off-centre. Now in my previous video I did mention that the shafts for the Great Pyramid that look like they're going up towards Orion if you go back 12,000 years ago, but the actual shafts do turn. So I will cover the connection between Orion and the Anunnaki shortly. In fact, I'll have to do it on my Patreon page, which is Outer History. There's plenty of videos already on there. So Outer History. But going back to why the Anunnaki built them, have a look here. You'll see different locations, different times, different pyramids have all got the same features. So join me on my Patreon page for plenty more videos. Longer